Hey, what's up, YouTube family? I need to come up with a name for my family. I guess that'll come in due time. Okay, so, like in my last video, I was talking about um, how I ran from the church because of, oh, not just the church, I ran from me and my sexuality. Um, Other people knew that I was attracted to women before I did, um, or before I was willing to admit it, should I say. I knew that I was attracted, but I didn't want anybody else to know, and I didn't come to terms with it. Um, when I was in school, there was little things that I did that pointed in that direction, but I still I still didn't come to grips with it. I didn't accept it. Um, and I should have, but it is what it is. So I know a lot of times, I know there's a lot of people who have gone through this. It's like if you live in a house where you are taught that you're going to hell if you are gay or a part of the LGBTQ community, it's hard to accept who you are, especially when you feel like it's like if I accept who I am accepting I'm going to hell. And that's hard. That's a big pill to swallow. Or, how can I accept myself if my parents or my family doesn't accept me, or you feel like God doesn't accept me? It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to handle, and it's hard. And it was hard for me. I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know what to do with it. And it wasn't like I had anybody to talk to while, when I was growing up. So it was kept on the low. But after I moved out of the house, and I was on my own, I had this job, and it started to come like though the it started to come out like my tells were coming out, and people were asking me, do you like girls? And I'll be like, no, but it was coming out. um, I did talk to guys, but when I was growing up, I wasn't allowed to date them. So I thought guys were cute. Some were handsome, but I didn't really know what to do with them. Like past the hi, you're cute, or past, in conversations, like I really didn't know what to do with them at all. And that became more evident as I got older. Um, it proved later on it became more of a disaster, but I'll get into that later. So while I'm a teenager, I'm not allowed to date or whatever, and I'm battling whatever's going on with me at the time. You know, um, my mental health was in a weird place to a certain extent. Yeah, it was in a weird place. Some days was great, awesome, but I know that I battled depression quite often. Um, I also attempted suicide. It did not work Probably more than likely because there is a plan for my life. And had I committed suicide, I would not be here to tell you um, or help you in this manner on YouTube. So, yay, I'm still here. Um, I did try to commit suicide. I overdosed on pills. And when I did it, it wasn't like I took like a bottle of pills at one time. I took like 10 of this at this time, 20 of these. Like I took like a big dose of different pills throughout the day. And then it was a lot. It was a lot of pills, a whole lot of pills in my system. So by the time I got home, I was super, super sleepy. And I believe it was God because my mom, I was talking to my mom, and ended up telling her what I had did. And so she called my grandmother, and they took me to the hospital. They rushed me to the hospital. Drove me to the hospital. And during the ride there, as an adult now, I do understand that they were scared. So when you're scared, you don't really you don't really think straight. You say things that you more than likely wouldn't normally say if you were thinking clearly. Some things were said, and it made me want to do it all over again. I ended up going to the hospital because of what I did. If I'm not mistaken, 30% of my liver was gone. They couldn't pump my stomach because the medicine had went through my system. So, but I did have to drink this stuff that literally tasted like rotten eggs, and to ease it, I had to drink it with Pepsi. To this day, I do not drink Pepsi. Like so, and my mother was right by my side the entire time, and I know that as a mother, that has to be a scary thing. But at the same time, for me, I just I wanted to be alone for a few moments, and my mother never left my side. And as a mother, like I completely understand that. But as the teenager, actually I was a senior in high school, and I was graduating that year. So maybe not the smartest idea, but anyway, I made it. I graduated, and all of that. Give you a little bit more background. Um, I was one of those kids that was very talkative. I know I keep bouncing back and forth, but I was a very talkative person. I was well liked. It depends on what age. And depends. It just depends. Like some ages, I was well liked. I had lots of friends. When I was working, as I got the job that I really enjoyed. It was at the age of 16, and I stayed there for off and on for about like 5 years, I think. It was like the best job ever. Well, in my mind, it was the best job ever. Um, and I made a lot of friends there. That was like my second home. I grew up there, literally. So, just depending on what era, what time period, I was either a ball of aggravation or I was just a joy to be around. I could never really sit still. I never stop talking. Uh, but on the inside, my mind never stopped. If if you like back then, if you thought that I was never quiet, and I used to also talk fast too, and if you thought I talked fast, you can't even imagine how things were going in my mind. I had so many different thoughts. I mean, I know it's normal, I guess, for people to, to think, but my mind was always going, always racing, always. And it was just always going. My life there was always change, which that's how life is. Life is all about change. But for me, it was like I had to get used to so much so fast. And, you know, I had to handle it however, however I could because it is what it is. So I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. When I moved out of my mother's house, I went to my grandfather's house, and eventually I moved out on my own. I moved in with a friend of mine at the time. Um, and I don't know if she will ever hear this message, but I did something that was horrible, 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 horrible. I broke the friend code, and I have been sorry ever since it happened. Um, she knows what I did, um, and I did already apologize for it, but I haven't forgotten. One thing about me, I have great memory, or there's a lot of things that I can't forget, and there's a lot of things I do forget. But I also, I made some decisions that weren't always great. I lost my virginity to a guy. I think I was. I know they say you never forget your first time. I don't. I haven't forgotten the experience of my first time with a guy. The age, I think I was 18 or 19. One of them. Um, Kind of a funny story. Um, uh, it was somebody that I used to smoke with, and afterwards, he told me that I wasn't a virgin anymore. I asked him, "How do you know?" Yeah, yeah, I know. Um, so yeah, now pause that for just a second. Anybody who, okay, I'm gonna have to stop here because for some reason I can only do 15-minute videos. If you're ever wondering why it's only like less than 15 minutes, that's why. So I'm gonna have to pause here, and you're gonna have to wait till the next video. I'm sorry for the cliffhanger. So I'll talk to you later. Next video.